Hello everyone, welcome back to I can never get a good intro in. Hello everyone, welcome back to Void Art Studios, and today I am going to be doing another possibly unfair comparison. And today's comparison is going to be between Dart Zone's various pro pistols. Except I couldn't get all of them. Today we have the Dart Zone Pro Mark II, the Dart Zone Max Outlaw, and the Adventure Force Tactical Strike Deuce Pro. And I actually managed to get a Deuce that works. Like, haven't had any of the really bad feeding issues or whatever with this Deuce. So yeah, I think I might have just gotten lucky with the person that gave this to me. So, yeah. Let us start. Well, no, not start yet. Still on explanation. Yeah, I don't have the 2.1. The Dart Zone Pro Mark 2.1 would have been really cool to have in this episode, but I can't find one. Literally, 0 listings. Looked on eBay, looked on Facebook Marketplace. I even considered looking on Craigslist. But still, I could not find any listings for the Dart Zone Pro Mark 2.1, so this will have to be mildly incomplete. But we shall start off with the Mark II. The Dart Zone Pro Mark II is a 6-shot, top prime, internal magazine pistol that shoots half-length darts. It holds them in the grip, and it also has this funky little muzzle device that comes off. It's a very, very neat blaster, and this one is the newest nitro shot variation, so anything it's the same thing, so anything the old one could do, the new one can do as well. The muzzle device is just that, it's just a muzzle device. It doesn't have a sealed barrel, but you could probably put some barrel in it. I mean, if you were able to cut down a Kuriaka barrel and attach it in there with glue, you could probably get a bit more of good barrel volume in there, because it's a little under barreled. You've got essentially a 2-inch barrel because this is just completely empty, and it could cause barrel drag. I don't think it's long enough to cause any sufficient drag, but yeah, it's pretty simple. It's the Dart Zone Pro Mark II. It's also very compact. It feels like it's the most compact out of all these blasters that I have today. Next up, we have the Outlaw, the Dart Zone Max Outlaw. The Outlaw was initially released in 2023 and also got new reskins in 2025. This is one of them. It's one I'm going to be using today. The Mark II also was released in 2021. I know that for a fact. Why are the dogs going crazy? But the Outlaw was initially released in 2023. Well, this one was. Then we got this one. I don't know if you can see them on camera. The blue one, and then the green one in 2025. When Dart Zone decided to just reskin a bunch of blasters, because that's apparently what we're doing in Space Year 2025. Interesting features. It can take the B car and P car. I don't know where my 1.2 is, which has my Dart Zone B car on it currently. So, you have to take my word for it. Yeah, it'll take the B car, it'll take the P car. But if you use the P car, it has a tendency to get stuck really easily. and you have to yank it out with pliers or the wrath of 10,000 men. And it's just a headache for what's essentially going to decrease your already low performance. So yeah, one interesting thing, the cylinder pops out very easily, but it still has good rotation, good feeding. It's a nice solid balance of it feeds well and it also, you know, you can easily eject the cylinder for cylinder swaps. It's also hammer prime, which that being one of the main detractors for most people is it's hammer prime, and it's got a heavy prime at that. But the heavy prime does just kind of come from the fact that it's hammer action. Because the thing with, like, most slide action pistols, you can prime with your whole hand. So it feels like a lighter prime. You can prime with your whole hand, your whole arm. You can put your whole strength into it. But with the Outlaw and the other hammer prime blasters, you are relying on your thumb. It is a one finger prime. So it's going to be a little heavier to prime that blaster for what's essentially the same performance, or maybe a little less in terms of FPS, which we'll get into FPS later, because a quick intermission before we talk about the Deuce, I have a chronograph. I got this from somebody in my Nerf group, and I'm liking it so far. It does have a tendency to give me whacked out readings, because I don't think the Deuce Pro hits 300 FPS, but I know what the glitched readings are, and I know relatively how to circumvent them, so don't worry, the FPS results will be taken with only, like, I when I'm doing the FPS results, I only take down legitimate readings and not bugged out readings. And let's talk about the Deuce. The Deuce is a top prime cylinder fed blaster. It actually worked this time. It takes this little cylinder. This is a weird cylinder because it acts like the Striker 2.0 cylinder or the Tomcat cylinder. And it has these weird little stoppers in the back that it's partially the cylinder that's caused a lot of the Deuce's feeding issues. And it's hard to put back in there. It's also hard to pop it out and see it didn't fully fly out like the Outlaw cylinder does. But also what's weird, you see, but also what's weird about the Deuce is it doesn't do what the Outlaw does, because how the Outlaw seals the dart is basically when you pull the trigger, a little bit of barrel comes back into a widened portion of the cylinder, which then creates your seal around the dart, so it fires better. No, this thing just has a breach, as if it were mag-fed. Which, yeah, it's weird for that, because why do you need that? It's not mag-fed. And also you have issues with, because the cylinder is right next to the muzzle when you don't have the muzzle device on, you pretty much have your dart is sticking out. So, yeah. You want to use the muzzle device when you're using the Deuce, which the muzzle device gives it a good little 3-4 inch barrel, which is nice. It actually has a barrel in it. It's actually a sealed barrel, because it functions as the Deuce's barrel. There is no barrel in the core blaster, so running it like this is going to be a severe detriment to your power and accuracy. I didn't take any muzzle-less shots with the Deuce, but I'm sure that it won't be able to maintain its velocity. in any sort of way. I think it's compatible with the Dart Zone attachments. The B car, the P car, and the funky Adventure Force muzzle brakes. I haven't tested it with those yet, so yeah. Also, this front sight is a rail attachment because, I don't know, why not, I guess? It's not a bad sight picture, though. It's pretty good. And this does get bonus points for being the only one to have a top rail, so if you wanted to use this as a primary for like a pistols only round, you could theoretically throw an optic on it, or some rail attached irons, and have you a pretty good pistol primary, even if it only hits close to around 140, 150 FPS. That's really all I have to talk about with the Deuce. I mean, normally the Deuce has a secondary trigger that acts as the safety, but this one has been ever so slightly modified to just get rid of that. But it hasn't been modified in any other ways I know of that. Anyways. Count how many times I said anyways in this video. I think it's been a lot. So now, I think I have rambled on about these blasters for long enough. Let's take them out to the range and fire them. Well, we are out on the range with all my blasters, and basically this is going to be a targeting comparison. Duke! Shush! Jeez. Goats. What can you do? We're going to start off with the Mark II. We're going to go in release order, so Mark II, then Deuce, then Outlaw. And I'm basically just going to see what my accuracy is at about 30 feet, which is how far away my man-sized target is, because a sidearm or secondary is usually good in close-range engagements when it's going to be harder to aim your primary, or if you're out of ammo, you can switch to your secondary and get up a little closer. The minimum engagement distance in my Nerf group is 30 feet, and if your secondary hits under 150 FPS on average, which all of these do, you can engage within 30 feet. So I've got my target set up at about 30 feet, and yeah, we're gonna test these blasters out. Hit. Hit. Miss. 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 So, 2 hits for the Mark II, and that's primarily an issue of it being very under-barreled or over-gassed. Because something that's meant to hit about 130 FPS is going to need more than what's essentially a 1.5, 2-inch barrel. So now, we got the Deuce. Let's see if we can hit what we're aiming at with the old Deuce Pro. Hit. Hit. Miss. I bounced off the table, we'll call that a hit. Hit. Oh. Bad feed. Hit. So we had 1 miss with the Deuce. It's 5 hits. And you see, that's what I'm talking about with the Mark II. Because these two have about the same spring weight, but this one has like a proper 3, 4, 5-inch barrel, while that one has about 2 inches of barrel, as well as that muzzle device on top of it. And I remember in my review of the Mark II, where I said it hit about 150 FPS, which is a little bit of over-exaggeration, now that I know from owning a chronograph, that it was so under-barreled and over-gassed, it was so inaccurate when I did that range test, that I couldn't even find all my darts. Like, usually I can recover just about all my darts, but the Mark II, when I reviewed it, I probably found about half, maybe a little less than half of my darts. But yeah, we got the Outlaw. You hear a hornet? Yeah, I do. I see a hornet too. Shoe hornet, don't bother me. Yes. We're about short. Blue line. There we go. Hit. Miss. They're spiking down really hard. Hit. So what was that? 2 hits, 3 hits with the Outlaw? But the darts were spiking down really bad. I don't know if that's an issue with Ember darts or the Outlaw specifically. I don't know. But yeah, we'll take it. Yeah, my favorite Pro Blaster might just not be the best secondary ever, which I'm okay with that. Well, it's not my favorite Pro Blaster. That's the Aeon. But my favorite Pro pistol might not be the best Pro pistol, and I'm okay with that because it's very fun. Alright, that was pretty much it for our firing demonstration and comparison. Now let's take them inside and compare the results. Alright, we are back inside. Now let's talk about them. First up, I put all the blasters up over my new chronograph to test the muzzle velocity. With the Mark II, I got an average of 127 FPS. Oh, I probably shouldn't have thrown it there. With the Dart Zone Max Outlaw, I got an average of 121 FPS. And with the Deuce Pro, I got an average of 142 FPS. So, yeah. There's a little bit of a difference there. The Deuce being about 15 to 20%-ish more powerful than the others. Well, not 15%, less than 10%, because it would be, you know, math ain't mathing. It's really hot outside and very humid. Messing with my brain hole. And yeah, let's look at them. The accuracy, I was honestly expecting the Mark II to have a bit of disappointing accuracy because it doesn't have enough barrel to properly be accurate, and also it cannot take the Dart Zone Max muzzle attachments, so you can't even make it any more accurate. Or try to, by putting like a B car or anything on it. I mean, if you manage to get like, if you manage to, and this is a good mod to try to do, extend the barrel through the muzzle device and out the end a little bit, you can put a hobby B car like this Gavin Fuzzy one I have on my Harrier on it, and then it'll be a lot more accurate, but I mean that would also make it a lot longer and less compact. Because I think the point of the Mark II is to just be super compact. And I like that it is compact, but it's just, it really doesn't hit on the accuracy part of it. The Outlaw was also surprisingly disappointing in accuracy. Like, and this was even worse than the accuracy was in my review of the blaster, because I was even just one-handing and kind of guessing in my review, and it was just fine, but now it was like really bad for some reason. And I noticed after looking back at the footage and while I was firing that the darts were kind of spiking downwards after about 20 feet, and that was weird. But I was also using, I tested a couple of my darts after I got done, and a couple of them did not pass the squish test. Basically, they were just kind of worn darts. And yeah, that's just kind of it with the Outlaw. The Deuce actually impressed me. I don't know if it was just me being lucky of actually getting a Deuce that doesn't constantly have bad feeds. Because I know, like, whenever the Deuce came out and everybody was reviewing it, a lot of people, like, especially just the people I watched, like Coop and Drac, I think, had bad feeding issues with the Deuce whenever it first came out. I mean, it may have been user error, it may have been they got lemons, I didn't. But yeah, the Deuce is pretty cool. I mean, you can get a lot of upgrades. I mean, you can get printed cylinders for it. You can get all sorts of stuff for, I mean, all of them. You can get all sorts of stuff for all these blasters, mod-wise. But I was very impressed with the Deuce. Got 5 out of 6, which without any sort of rifling on the front, I really wasn't expecting to hit all 6. But it felt nice to use. It's overall just worked. If you can get a good Deuce, I recommend the Deuce, honestly. Well, let's talk about him. Which one is the best? Now, if you want to go with all the objective metrics, I guess, the FPS, I mean, the Deuce ruled today. FPS, accuracy, it was just the best. I did have one cycling issue out of my 6 shots, but if you can deal with that risk, I would say go for the Deuce. It's so weird recommending the Deuce. The Mark II was mildly disappointing. Now, while you can hit a man-sized target with the Mark II at a closer range than 30 feet, anything 30 and beyond, you're going to have issues with accuracy due to the fact that it is so under-barreled and just isn't compatible with anything except the shroud that doesn't give it any sort of additional barrel. Like, yeah. But, I mean, Dart Zone didn't think about muzzle extensions that actually extend the barrel until they made the Mark IV and the Deuce, so it's like whatever. But yeah, you definitely want to be a little closer when you use the Mark II. But I still recommend picking it up because it's fun to use. It makes you feel cool. It makes you feel like John Wick. The Outlaw, my favorite pro pistol, just solely based off of aesthetics and fun value, did weirdly bad today. Like, when I was expecting... Sorry. Allergies are really bad today. When I expected similar results to my review, in which I got decent accuracy with all of my ammo types. I was using Ember darts today because that's what I did my chronograph results with. And it just kind of underperformed weirdly, but it may have been a darts issue because I tested some of the darts that were out there, and especially the ones that fired out of the Outlaw, and they seemed like they were a little more squishy, a little more worn. So it may have just been an issue of, oh yeah, pro blasters don't like worn darts. and that may have been it. May have been an issue with the Outlaw. May have been an issue with me. Who knows? I may have been standing too far back, or, you know, some weird metric that caused this thing to misbehave. But I definitely recommend the Outlaw, as it's probably the cheapest out of all of them. Because you can still find the Nitro Shot Outlaws for $35 plus shipping. I think you can still find the red one in Targets for $32. I mean, that's really all I have to say. If you just want the best performing one, try to track down a Deuce. They're discontinued because all the original Adventure Force Pro blasters got discontinued when the Nexus X and the Aeon X came out, and there hasn't been a Deuce Pro X yet, which Dart Zone, get on that. I want a Deuce Pro X and a Conquest Pro X, please. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about these blasters. Our winner today was the Deuce, but the other two are still pretty solid, even if they did slightly underperform in the accuracy test. Anyways, if you did enjoy this video, then please do leave a like and subscribe, do all that algorithm nonsense, and comment your favorite Dart Zone Pro pistol. And with that, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!